Yo, it's Thomas. I'm reviewing Begonia, the new movie from Yorgos Lanthimos. Yorgos Lanthimos is one of my favorite modern directors. Um, Particularly Poor Things and Killing of a Sacred Deer have been a couple of my favorite films from like the last decade. Kinds of Kindness, I know that people didn't really mess with that movie too much, but personally, I still really liked it. And Begonia, I kind of see Begonia as it's like the end of this unofficial trilogy where, in 3 years, Yorgos Lanthimos came out with three movies. They're all starring Emma Stone, where Emma Stone's just been on this crazy streak with him. They're just like making banger after banger. And I think Begonia is pretty good. I think that it's probably my least favorite out of this unofficial trilogy that I've made up in my mind. But it was still a really good movie. Yorgos Lanthimos, his kind of calling card is really awkward, like humor, and really crude, maybe even mean-spirited humor. And he's also like not afraid of being a little bit edgy. It kind of reminds me of like Lars von Trier in that way. And something I thought about with something I've noticed, especially with like Killing of a Sacred Deer, is sometimes he like gives me a little bit of a Stanley Kubrick type of vibe with his like camera work and stuff. And Begonia, I don't really feel that way. It is a beautiful movie, and there is a lot of similar filming techniques. He's got like the really wide angles, and he has a lot of just static images that make for pretty striking images. And this movie is shot on VistaVision. It seems like every movie is shot on VistaVision in 2025. I mean, there's like three I can think of right now. I'm just kind of joking, but I think the movie looks beautiful. It's kind of like a bottle movie for a lot of the runtime. There's a lot of scenes of Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons. They're just having a conversation, and I mean, throughout the conversation, the editing, it's never showing them or it rarely shows them in like the same shot together, and it's just close-ups of their faces, and it's just giving them an opportunity to really perform. And I think that the VistaVision captures the lighting of the shot in a really striking way. Especially, I particularly noticed it with Jesse Plemons. I think like the texture on his face makes for he's just a really cool, interesting guy to look at. And sometimes these like shots they capture of whoever it is, they just strike them in really evocative way. Especially with like how colorful of a performance Jesse Plemons is giving. This movie kind of feels like an acting reel for Jesse Plemons a lot of the time. And I think it's really compelling just to watch him, especially his character. He plays this kind of like crazy conspiracy theorist that thinks Emma Stone is an alien, and he's shown listening to whatever like podcasts about whatever demonic it's like stuff about how there are literal aliens that are taking over the world on Earth. His character is really interesting for how insane he is, but also how how real of a character he feels like he feels like somebody that is not common, but definitely exists out there. And then his cousin, who I can't remember who the actor that plays his cousin, but he is I think he plays, I would say, just generally a neurodivergent character. And it's really, I think, easy to shrug him off as just seeming really like awkward and almost like unprofessional in his performance. But he, whether that's how he is in real life, I don't know. I've never seen interviews of him or anything. But this cousin character, I think his name's either Don or Dom, he is acting in a way that is very authentic and very reminiscent of some neurodivergent people you might meet, out in the world. The way that his character plays against Jesse Plemons feels really believable. And it really makes it, he feels like so, just him getting sucked up into this world with Jesse Plemons just feels so unfortunate. And it's so sad. And it's like, as much as his movies kind of feel like edgy and like mean-spirited, there is a part of it that, especially in this movie, feels like really upsetting just because these people have basically ruined their lives for nothing. I think that's maybe part of why maybe this is my least favorite out of this trilogy of films that he's made, is because it's like funny, but it's not funny in the way that Kinds of Kindness was funny or that Poor Things was funny. I think that Yorgos Lanthimos, he's settled into a style with this movie, or I should say Begonia has shown Yorgos Lanthimos settling into this kind of groove that he's really attached to, I think, since maybe like The Favorite. But, it's kind of like, I didn't know exactly what was going to happen in this movie, but I think that the fact that I could imagine almost to a T the like tone and the humor with a lot of it, I think says something to Yorgos Lanthimos kind of getting a little bit comfortable with what he's been doing, even though the movies he makes are so crazy and out there. They're kind of, with Begonia, it's starting to become crazy and out there in the same way that like all of his movies are. And I just want him to do, I just want another shift from him. Even though Killing of a Sacred Deer, you can tell that it's made by the same person as the person that directed Begonia. It just strikes a totally different tone and puts you in a totally different headspace from Begonia. Whereas Begonia, it's honestly way more accessible than that movie. But you can tell that it's made by the same person, but it just feels a little bit less impactful. And whether that's because I've seen too many of his movies or because I just, whatever the reason is, it's starting to feel a little bit less exciting. Shout out to Stavi, or however you say his name. He was really good in the movie. He plays a really weird, funny character that got more screen time than I was expecting, which was welcome. But I don't know what else to say. The story, if you've read the premise, or if you've heard me explain the premise, you don't need to know anything else going into the movie. I think it plays out about how you expect. And I don't know. It's still a really enjoyable movie. It's still really beautiful. I think they used the VistaVision to great effect, even though it's not this big spectacle film. Yorgos Lanthimos, I'll still check out whatever he comes out with next. I do really hope that he does something a little bit more. He takes a left turn in a way. But yeah, I am feeling maybe like I'm feeling a strong 6 to a light 7, you know, one of those two I'd be happy with. Anyways, if you want to watch other videos from me or my friends, we've got them. Subscribe, like the video, and I'll see you when I see you, okay? Thank you. Bye-bye.